Lastly, pros and cons of using this configuration. Obviously, one of the most notable benefits of using a pair of CDJs to control Traktor is it really limits the amount of hardware you have to carry in with you. If you're just using the CDJ aggregator, you're not even bringing in your own sound card, then you literally need a laptop and 2 USB cables, and that's the limit of your configuration. CDJs are nice, they're large, they're well manufactured, they're consistent, they've got big buttons, they just generally feel nice to perform on. And a CDJ is much larger and kind of more expensive than any MIDI controller you could realistically carry with you. So using CDJs does give you the advantage of being able to use the nice, large, expensive hardware that's always installed versus having to carry smaller, portable, cheaper hardware that you have to wire in yourself. Concerns with using the CDJs? The biggest is simply that CDJs don't consistently work in venues. It's not uncommon for a CDJ to be broken, and that can really cause you issues, although it does cause the DJ before you and after issues as well. So to an extent, this is not actually your problem. This is the venue or the promoter's problem, and they are expected to deal with it, not you. Sometimes CDJs will be provided, but they are not new enough, and so you won't be able to control Traktor with them. So you do need to call ahead and ask the venue. And even then, some of the time, I've called ahead and I've asked the venue, and they've told me lies about what equipment they had. So when I've turned up, the equipment they said they had and the equipment they actually had were not the same thing. You do need a backup option. And lastly, CDJs and venues are not necessarily well maintained. They're often bought once and just installed and never thought about again. So sometimes CDJs have not had firmware updates, have not been kept up to date. And so potentially you can have issues plugging your laptop into a club installed CDJ if that CDJ has some kind of lack of update or lack of maintenance. It may not work properly. So do bear in mind that you're taking a risk when you rely on other people's equipment. You are putting faith in them to have maintained that equipment properly and for it to be in a working state when you turn up. That's fine. As a DJ, you are not actually responsible for the hardware, and if you turn up and the equipment doesn't work, that's not your problem. They still have to pay you. But to an extent, it can be helpful to take more ownership or more control of that hardware and be in a position where if things don't go well, if the equipment is not provided in the state it's supposed to be, you have some kind of backup or fallback option that is available to you. So for example, when I'm performing, I tend to use CDJs if there are 2000s or 900s available, wired into Traktor in this way. But I also carry my Control X1 with me, and if the CDJs are too much work or are not in a good working state, I will perform my set just using my Control X1 instead of a pair of CDJs.